Hi there, welcome back. It's just another day. Today I've got another good one for you. This is in the New York Post and I'll link it in the description below. But there's an article talking about entitled dog owners that feel they need to bring their dogs everywhere. Any restaurant, store, what have you. So, and of course I'm a dog owner. We walk our dog every day here. And I do have some strong feelings about this. And would be curious to know what your thoughts are once we go through this. But in the article, Tamara, she's a New York City med spa owner, and she's just sick and tired of it. So she has this business, and she's almost daily forced into these confrontations with her privileged clientele, is how she puts it, who drag the dogs into her pristine wellness spa. And, they leave dog paw prints everywhere. They're walking in filth out in the street. Sometimes they have accidents. So it's things that she's really concerned about. They jump on the furniture, places where people need to sit and do things. So she feels there's a permissiveness towards pets in New York City, and it's just gone too far now. And so what she talked about were some pushy clients that they assume they can bring their non-service dogs into the room with them while they get treatments. So this is things like, Botox or, maybe some filler, different cosmetic procedures. So, it's a medical type of thing. And so she's concerned bringing a pet in with you, whether it's fur or just, whatever, like I said, they've walked in and now you have this possibly getting into this patient on some level. So she said at the end of the day, it's a medical procedure. And it's really frustrating because then they have to be the bad guy. So, I guess there's always been an unspoken rule that, you don't bring your dogs into different places of business. And I remember years ago when PetSmart first started becoming a thing. And by the way, is it PetSmart or PetSmart? So I'll leave that for you to decide. There's a whole thing about that. But she said, we have to say not only is this against code, and it might make people feel uncomfortable, it's also a big distraction. So here you are, you're trying to perform a procedure on the client and the dog's jumping around, maybe it's barking, maybe it's urinating in the corner. So it's just something that, it's not just a patient-client interaction, it's dealing with the dog and trying to keep the dog from bothering other customers or running around and so on. So, this is repeated over and over again in New York. Again, it's a New York Post article. And so people love having their dogs with them and people are just fed up with it. So what happens a lot of times is there's sort of a social contract that they're just kind of skirting the rules. These people just feel, I'm just gonna bring the dog in. What are they gonna do? And, for the most part, people won't say anything. So it is an issue. So we have public parks and other places, sidewalks and things you can walk the animals. And, non-service dogs are showing up in grocery stores, small businesses, big box stores, and even restaurants. There's got to be a line drawn somewhere. It's sort of a health code issue if you have animals around where people are trying to eat, or there's food, there's produce, there's meat. And so, a lot of times people think if a dog's not making noise and just hanging out, what's the big deal? But we all know that's not usually the case. There's this entitlement where it's like, my needs matter more than yours. I want my pet with me and I don't care if you're uncomfortable. And I can really see a lot of people nowadays have this entitlement where they just don't care what other people say. They're going to do what they want, even though it's sort of out of the ordinary. It's not culturally accepted as to what they want to do, and this is a big case here. We went to some vineyards over the weekend, and there were a couple places you walk in and people have their dogs with them. And again, it's pet friendly, it's not a big deal, but one place, there's a table, they had 3 dogs with them, and I was like, oh, they brought their dogs. Then I realized there's a 4th dog that I didn't see because of a counter. It was a Great Dane. This thing is massive. And we saw a Great Dane at the beach a few weeks ago, and the owner was walking with this gigantic dog bag of excrement. And it was, I mean, it looks like it had to weigh 5 pounds. So I can't imagine, like, what do you do if this dog decides to just do his thing right there in the vineyards building there? So Hernandez, who owns a golden doodle, gets particularly peeved when she encounters dogs lounging on the floors of New York City bodegas, emphasizing, "I shouldn't have to walk over a dog leash to get to where I need to be because you're not holding your dog tightly next to you." That's another thing. People aren't really considerate if their dog's getting tangled around or, you know, bothering you or your kids. And so that's another concern. So she said she also gets annoyed when she sees pups in city grocery stores. She's seen a lot of them, specifically at the Key Food on Fulton Street where she goes. And so it's always like, all right, why are they here? We need to reinforce that dogs are still dogs no matter how much you love them, and treat them as our children. So while city and state health codes technically ban pets that aren't licensed service dogs, especially ones that sell or serve food like grocery stores and restaurants, pressure to conform to social norms and a lack of rule enforcement, sorry, I'm a little distracted by my dog, lack of rule enforcement have made the practice rampant in New York City. And the biggest problem is there are different codes and things that these restaurants and stores need to abide by, but they feel helpless to enforce it because they don't want to offend anyone. Local store owners have a different kind of reaction to people who are newer and maybe, you know, newer to the area, to the neighborhood, and bringing their dogs into indoor public spaces. So the article talks about, you know, certain subset of people, they move to a certain area, they're not used to the local area, and they just feel like, well, this is what I do, I'm gonna just bring my dog in. And because businesses see that this is, hey, these are new customers, it's a new form of money coming in, let's just make them happy. We're not gonna make a big deal of it. The problem is it alienates the existing customers that maybe don't want these dogs around. According to the city, businesses can legally ask if a dog is a service dog and what tasks the dog performs, but they can't ask for proof of disability for a service animal certification. So this has led some business workers to feel at a loss for how to handle customers that they say, you know, oh, it's a service animal. Well, is it really? You know, they're not wanting to question it and face a lawsuit for, you know, maybe asking about someone's disability or something like that. And so, you know, people just kind of let it slide, and there's, you know, hopefully they won't stay too long. Customers want us to go up and yell at these people and hurl them out of the store and say, you know, what's wrong with you? Why are you bringing this dog in? It's just not that easy. So, you know, I have strong feelings about this. I've kind of been in that same, you know, line of thinking that, you know, dogs or cats or what have you, they're still animals. They're not 100% clean. I know a lot of people aren't clean either, but, you know, for the most part, there are codes and rules to keep fur and other nastiness out of our food supply, out of, you know, any type of stores that could pass along anything. So what are your thoughts? Do you bring your pets in everywhere? I get if it's like really hot out and you don't want to leave the dog in the car. I do see that as a need. So you're running errands, your dog's with you, you have to bring the dog in. But, you know, a lot of people, they like to pack their dog up and bring them everywhere like it's a kid. And it's just creating more and more issue with people, especially when, you know, they're places that typically dogs aren't allowed. Let me know in the comments what your thoughts are. As always, please subscribe to the channel. I'd really appreciate it if you haven't yet. And we'll be coming out with more content. Thank you again, and hope to see you again later in the next one. Check out this video up here to check out more of my videos. Thanks again.